And hello, everybody. Welcome back to part two of execution of your project. This is kind of a part one of two, kind of the flow of getting her done, right? While we build it. And this is taken from previous versions of the PMBOK guide, just kind of showing you the processes that are in play. But what I really want to do is just put this into basic English. You are directing and managing the project work. That means you're trying to produce the deliverables that you had planned on and end up with a verifiable product result or capability that your customer will sign off on. While you're executing, you're collecting lots of data. That's the data you're going to use in monitoring and controlling later. You're also going to say, hey, what kind of changes should we request to really keep this deliverable on track, right? And so any change would go into integrated change control, and if it's approved, it would come back into execution here, into direct and manage the project work. It's coming back here to get implemented. We'll want to make sure we're doing quality, including quality assurance. Meaning follow the processes that we've defined. And I invite quality audits. Tell me what I don't know. It's a little bit of a hassle. I didn't really plan on you, but it's an independent third-party look. I'll take it. I'm also, while I'm executing, still acquiring my team, right? Making sure they're available, making sure the roles and responsibilities are clear, and I'm managing the team throughout, which means all of these topics here. Another part to this roadmap and execution. Again, this picture from a previous PMBOK guide, just kind of showing you the processes to think about. But I want to manage communications, which involves all of these things here. I want to manage project knowledge, right? A project manager's role is to share knowledge, tacit knowledge and explicit knowledge. Explicit knowledge are things that we know to be true. The sky is blue, right? Boys and girls, etc. Tacit knowledge are things that are hard to describe, but yet we know, right? Like emotions or what is a family, etc., etc. We want to let any contracts or, sign any contracts needed to build our deliverable. We want to make sure we have a response plan for risks. And we want to manage stakeholder expectations throughout. In the end, the execution is really all about management, right? And so key components of execution in this is a very dynamic part of the project. And so these key components that you'll manage are team management, for example. That involves managing the project team to ensure that everyone is working together effectively and efficiently and following the processes. Then there's resource management, which means overseeing and coordinating these project resources, people, equipment, materials, etc., to ensure they're used effectively and efficiently. There's task management, creating, tracking, closing all project tasks, making sure they're completed on time and within budget. You can do risk management as another example, which is really a crucial task because you want to identify potential risks, look for triggers, and develop a plan to mitigate those to ensure you remain on a successful path. There's communication management, which I've talked about many times, quality management, which I just mentioned in the previous slide, project scheduling, which is another form of management, that detailed project that outlines the project pipeline, the tasks, the assignments, the milestones, the deadlines, and the budget as well. Just a lot of management going on here. Very exciting. That is, in a nutshell, if I were to say, what are the key components of project execution? Bam, those topics are it. Now, we come back to this slide. I know we've seen this before, but now we turn to the concept of recommended methodologies for project execution. One of the first slides said, hey, one of the first decisions you have to make as a project manager is what is your methodology? What's your approach? There are a lot of project management methodologies that can be used in execution. And it's important to pick it early up front because it impacts how you plan as well. So there's agile methodology, which is a change-driven approach. It's collaborative, it's iterative. The customer is embedded into the project itself, so they're always there. And this is a really great approach when projects demand flexibility and adaptability to evolving customer requirements. Then we have waterfall or predictive project management. This is a great approach to managing project in a sequential fashion, where each project phase is concluded before advancing to the next, right? It's characterized by well-defined requirements, even though they may not be completely defined, well-defined requirements, and a really good understanding of the final product. Most projects today end up really as a hybrid, so that's another methodology. And that's combining the elements of both agile and waterfall into what is known as a hybrid management, right? This is really well suited for a work environment that is both technical and creative across multiple teams. It's also flexible and adaptable as well. Scrum is another approach, another methodology. It's a type of agile, and it places a strong emphasis on collaboration, individual accountability, and interactive progress. Kanban is another methodology. This is a way of visualizing the work, and you control the work in progress, and as you visualize it, you're optimizing efficiency. It's about volume of work done on a continuous delivery. And then there are other forms of methodologies. You may have heard of lean methodology, focuses on minimizing waste and maximizing value. And it's really great for a project that is focused on efficiency and a commitment to continuous improvement. Six Sigma is another. It concentrates on diminishing defects and enhancing overall quality, right? So if those are important to you. Prince 2, it's a British approach to project management. It is most fitting for projects that prioritize risk and quality, etc. So those are some. It's waterfall predictive, or it's agile change driven, or it's a hybrid / adaptive approach to project management. Now, we come back to this slide. We've seen this one again. And just as a summary, right, these methods for project execution. This is waterfall or predictive. I get assigned the business case. I get assigned to the project. I do initiating, then I do planning, then I do executing, controlling, and closing. And they go back and forth as I learn things along the way, right? We've talked waterfall, hybrid, agile, Scrum, Kanban, etc. already. Now, one of the other things we want to do is manage and control our projects. So really the question is, remember, we went from initiating and planning. Our focus this week is execution of the project. And we, on the other side of execution, is monitoring and controlling. Remember, monitoring and controlling is happening at the same time as you execute the project. So how project management execution differs from planning and monitoring? Good question, right? So the project management life cycle has these 5 stages we've talked about: initiating a project, planning a project, executing a project, the focus of this week, monitoring and controlling the project, and then finally closing the project. And execution is where the project team, as you know, carries out those plans, the planning portion, to deliver that product, that deliverable. So the focus of this phase of what we're talking about is to complete the work defined in the plan. But afterwards, then we monitor the progress and make changes as necessary. So this is different from the monitoring control is different from the planning phase, right? Where the project team determines what steps they have to achieve to accomplish the goals and build this action plan. That was previously, and that's what we execute. This is monitoring and controlling, is where we put into action, we watch and we monitor and we analyze our progress. We're looking for variances and risks, and we're taking action against those in the monitoring and controlling process. And that's why monitoring and controlling happens the same time as I'm executing. I am here looking for risks and making recommendations and changes, but those changes will go back into execution right here. So that's really what's happening here. It's really kind of exciting. So monitoring and controlling is focusing on the project execution getting done according to plan, right? So the execution gets done right. The plan defined the track, the progress, and execution with the data it collects figures out, are there issues? I'm not sure. Let's give that to monitoring and controlling and let them analyze. And they'll analyze it and recommend changes to make the necessary adjustments. This is combining then planning, executing, and controlling, right, along the way. It's really very exciting. So, as I've mentioned, the focus here has been on execution, right? To complete the work defined in the project plan, to track the progress, and to make the necessary adjustments. That's what we're doing in monitoring and controlling. What I tried to do here is just put it in plain English, right? We look back at execution and we look forward, the analysis part, in control. And if we want to make a change, we recommend the change to integrated change control. So we want to measure, right, what we're doing. That's the data we're collecting. And we might have other metrics as well. And then when we get that data, we look at the plan and we look at this data and we go, is there a variance? Is there a gap? Okay, if there is, let's correct them. And that's why you would recommend a change, and it would go to a change control board. It's critical to control communications here. People don't mind changes as much as long as they are aware, as long as it's never surprise your boss, right? That's the focus. So control communications, make sure people are aware of this change, involve stakeholders, update the project plan, manage your project configuration so the whole team is aware. And then, of course, in monitor and control, take this data you've collected compared to the plan that you had before execution and forecast your schedule, forecast your costs, forecast your quality. Look for new risks, right? And administer any contracts that you may need along the way. Now, not part of this coursework, but part of the process groups that IPEC, initiating, planning, executing, controlling, and closing, is the closing process group. This is just kind of a one-slide summary, and here's your process, right? You want to close the project or phase. You want to make sure that you get the customer to formally accept something. You want to make sure they sign for it. You want to close any contracts that you have, and then wrap up your phase or project. Get feedback from the team, from the customer, from your bosses. Finalize your reports. Make sure you archive them in a place that others can use them, and do lessons learned. You've been collecting lessons learned throughout your project. Now you will be filing them in a single location. Okay, that's it. The focus was on execution, but to talk about execution, we really have to talk about initiating, planning, and controlling as well. That was fun. All right, this should help you out a lot. Make some notes, and I look forward to the results of the quiz.